Everybody, everything I say is alleged, my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only.
Y'all, so Reesa Teesa had everybody in a chokehold watching this 50-part series on Who the F Did I Marry? Okay. She done caught everybody's attention over on the TikToky. Okay. Secondly, I want to give a shout out to the YouTube creator who was able to capture all those videos. Because I don't have TikTok. But y'all did a great job of capturing those videos. And I was hooked. I was watching it like it was a soap opera, okay? Teesa did a great job of detailing. She's a great storyteller. But before I get into my commentary, if y'all like my commentary and what I'm doing, come down in the comment sections. Let's have conversations. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you know when my next video is coming out. And know that you guys are definitely appreciated. Thanks for the support. Now, let's get back into this commentary on Miss Reesa Teesa. So, Reesa Teesa got married. No, first of all, no, let me start this over. Reesa Teesa dated a guy for 2.5 weeks, quarantined with him, got pregnant, lost the baby, got married, looked for houses, looked for cars that didn't exist, went against all her religious beliefs, all because she thought it was her turn. I have to say this was a very entertaining series. She did well, breaking things down, was very descriptive. If you had questions, she came back and answered your questions. I can appreciate that. And I can appreciate her for taking accountability for her being in La La Land until she wasn't. Okay. So I broke this down. Although she had 50 parts, I broke it down to 3 parts. Part 1 was the fairy tale. Part 2 was the delusion. And part 3 was the uncovering. So before I begin with my 3-part breakdown, do you feel like we should give her grace? I feel like grace can be given for her coming up on these internet streets, being vulnerable, okay, and have all kinds of people coming at her to tell her truth. I can give her grace for that. I could give her grace for being accountable, for being a for a man she just met over the internet. A part of me went back to, the time the world shut down from the pandemic. And, everybody was in a space where they ain't know what to do. They ain't know if we was going to be here or not. And maybe she just didn't want to be alone. I'll give her just a teeny weeny bit of grace for that. But me, hell no. I ain't moving in with no stranger. Danger. But this ain't my story. Anyway, let's move on to these parts that I broke it down into. Let's get into the fairy tale. So Reesa Teesa's part 1 through 10 is the fairy tale. She met him online. She goes out on a date with him on March 7th. As she's driving, her tire blows out. She calls him. He comes to her, the damsel in distress. He changes her tire, take her to another tire place to get her tire fixed. He pays for it. She's impressed. She thought it was sexy. So they continue on their date. They go to the Cheesecake Factory. They had a wait. They were holding hands. She said she had butterflies. It's almost like this ain't never happened for her before, but okay. She said while they had to wait, they had long talk. And I can guarantee you, she was giving him all the ammunition he needed to get his game set up, okay? I.e. the trip to London, when he came to her with the fake itinerary. I.e. when she asked the question, why did you marry me? He said he knew he couldn't be her boyfriend for too long. He had to marry her because she gave him everything he needed to play his game. He was setting up his game plan because he ain't new to this. He true to this. As we can see, all the women that's coming out about this dude. And then the sinker for me is when she said they was driving home from their date and he played a song of John Legend's that had something about wife in it, and she thought it was a song. Girl, you were supposed to go home and pray about it. So at this point, they met on March 7th, went on a date. They've been hanging out for about 2.5 weeks, even had a date at Red Lobster, and then the world shut down. The governor of Georgia decided to shut down the state. And they decided to quarantine together. What? Where they do that at? Where they do that at? You quarantining with a stranger, somebody you just met online for 2.5 weeks? Hell to the no. To the no. Y'all could have got to know each other. He could have been in his studio apartment and you could have been in your fabulous townhouse with your 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. And y'all could have got to know each other over the doggone phone. It would have saved you a lot of heartache and trouble, girl. So once he moved in, they got to talking about house hunting and they was looking for cars. This all happening in April of 2020, 1 month in. She bought into him having money because he showed his savings account and his checking account and his proof of employment and him getting a promotion. Child, he ran okie doke on you. For me, the first red flag was when they went house hunting. They were using one realtor, the one realtor doing all the work, making sure they could put in the offer. And then when it's time to put in the offer, this fool decides to go with another realtor because he wanted to give that realtor the business, only for the house to fall through. The second house, he didn't want to show proof of his funds. Although he done show her the checking and the savings account, he didn't want to show proof of the funds. And that didn't ring no bells for you, girl. Although you said you didn't know the process of buying a house, that still would have rung a bell for me, okay? But I know what got her hook, line, and sinker. He paid those household bills for her. She got to keep some of her money to herself, and she was excited about that. But that's how he reeled you in. You thought he was a provider. Now, here's what I have to say before I finish. I feel like as detailed as she was, she left out a lot. You could tell it was more to these stories. These parts, she was intent on letting us know how much of a pathological liar this man was. So we ain't hear the stuff about the in-between and what she did, what part she played. But let me move on. May of 2020. What we in? March, April, May. We talking about 2 months in. She finds out she's pregnant. She was feeling the way because she wasn't married. So she pushed through. Pushed through meaning she was determined to get married now that she was pregnant. Okay. Now, although she was skeptical, said the theme of this relationship was she don't know what it is, but it's something is off. You did not know him, sis. Was it the D? Because you know them crazy men be having some crazy D. Was it the D that kept you there putting up with this bull crap? Now, she knew he was lying about some stuff. And continued searching for houses. She was pregnant, so she wanted to get married. So she proceeds, but all signs, all red flags are blaring. She proceeds when you should have ran and ran fast. And mind you, at this time, she had started doing audio diaries because she said something wasn't right. Her gut was telling her something wasn't right. So she started making those audio diaries instead of getting the hell about this relationship. You better start listening to your intuition, ladies. It's never wrong. Okay. She went against her better judgment because she thought it was her turn. Now we on to June 17th. Okay. June 17th is this man's birthday. Right before that, she finds out that, in the ultrasound for her baby, there was no heart. So she had to have, they gave her 3 options. She could let it happen naturally where the baby will be expelled. She could take a pill or she could come in to get a DNC. She chose to take a pill. Guess why? She wanted to make sure she celebrated this man's birthday. I mean, really? Really? Now, was this man's birthday more important than the condition you were in? Obviously, yes. Because I would have been devastated. I wouldn't have had wanting to celebrate his birthday. And he should have been laid up in the bed with you while you prepare mentally to take care of what needs to happen, okay? So we find out that, even though she took the pill, everything wasn't expelled. So she had to go in for a procedure to make sure everything was taken out. And what do? All of a sudden, he is getting a promotion the same day of her procedure. He can't make it. He has a new assistant. What? All of that should have been deaded and he should have been by your side. It's no excuses. No excuses. And then he came 3 hours late to pick her up. She was upset that he couldn't take her, but during that time, even if he would have taken her, he wouldn't have been able to come because it was the time of the pandemic. So that's a null and void. The part that bothered me is that he came 3 hours late, picks her up, calls her parent, her mother or her aunt or whatever, to tell them that, yeah, she's okay, which was probably a fake phone call. As we know, he wasn't talking to nobody on the phone call she was talking about. And then turned around and I believe texted the mother and the aunt and said, don't talk to her for a week. What? Girl. Now, this right here would have been a deal breaker. A deal breaker, okay? This was your opportunity to get out of this once again, just on his lack of care of what you had to go through. And 2, you wouldn't have been able to tell my mama, my sisters, and my brothers not to talk to me after I done went through this traumatic procedure. What? Wellness check would have happened, okay? They would have been on their way. But anyway, this fool reasoning, after they come back from the hospital a few days later, I don't even know, it probably was the next day, he wants to go house hunting again. I can't. She said the theme of their relationship was something ain't right. No, the theme was This house hunting shit. Like, I didn't get this whole house hunting thing. Like, I didn't get it. Child, now we in the fall of 2020. They are car shopping, house shopping. If you anything like me, you like, for why? He done put her in a car that didn't never come. Now, all this before she married this man. And yet, you still marry him. You had so many chances to be out. Which brings us into part 2, the delusion. So in part 2, it will cover her part 11 through 17. She gives the family background for us to later find out that he lied about how many brothers and sisters he had, the times of the passing of family members, and that nobody effed with him. She said she married him out of fear. She didn't want to be alone. She didn't want to feel embarrassed by ending the relationship so soon. But look at you now. You a whole storyteller. She said she wanted to get married, and that was her drive for staying in this relationship. Although he showed all signs of lying, although she started those audio diaries because something wasn't right, although she went against all her religious beliefs by shacking up with this man, having sex and getting pregnant, she still wanted to marry this man. So part 18 to 21, I call it the old bait and switch. Okay. She said they had a heart-to-heart talk about shacking up and they needed to be married. Against her better judgment, she married this man. Okay. She noticed on the marriage license that the social security number was different from the background check social security number when she tried to find a new job. Obviously, she was complaining. He wanted to do better to make the relationship work. And I feel like, yeah, he wanted to make it work because he ain't had nowhere to go. Okay. We're now at January 2021. What's that? They get married. And she said by January 31st, she knew she was in trouble. She said he stopped coming home at the normal time that he came home, if at all. He claims that a man came to the house while she was out getting her mani-pedi. Okay. But she finds out that that's not true because she had an alarm system on her door that he didn't know nothing about. Now, was this alarm system always there or you installed it after he moved in? Just asking a question, okay? Now, I feel like he did that to cause dissension, okay? Because you know when somebody blaming you for cheating, it's normally them that's doing the cheating. And then why now after y'all get married? She said after they got married, they fell into this routine. Like y'all didn't have a routine before y'all got married because he done moved in your house. I'm just asking a question. You know, those are questions that come to my mind. Okay. The thing is, she so wanted to believe this man, despite all the lies and the deception. She had so much faith in this man that he was going to tell her some truth at some point, although she knew every word coming out his mouth was a doggone lie. Then we have part 3, the uncovering. Here's where things started to be revealed. Okay. Risa Tisa decided to look for a new job because she didn't want to have to depend on him to help her with her car payment or the bills for the house. All of this within how many months? Almost. So, okay. She had to do a background check. The background check required her husband information, his social security number. She notices that the social security number he used on the background check is totally different from the social security that he used on the marriage license. So she took a mental note, a background check she did a background check on the social security number on the marriage license and nothing came back. She didn't get no hit. But the social security number on the background check came back with a hit, with his real information, addresses associated with him, relatives, and things so she became Carmen Sandiego. Okay, she was going to find out who this doggone man is, and in the meantime, he had a knee injury that kept him from going to work. Now she said that he got up to go to work, but later found out that he wasn't going to work. He was going somewhere else. My thing was, how was he paying the bills? Or did you have to pick up and pay the bills? Because that's the question I had with you when you said that you looked for another job so you wouldn't have to depend on him. Was he falling behind on the bills? Just questions that's in my head. Because you did say in your investigation that he ended up getting fired from this condiment company. She starts investigating and finding out stuff about this stranger that she married. Okay. She decided to look through his phone. And you know when you look through the phone, you're going to find what you're looking for, okay? We found out that he was sexting strangers on Messenger, and she, brought it to his attention. They decided that they're going to go to marriage. The counselors told them that they should have never got married. But she still had hope that this marriage would work out. 3 months into the marriage, there was infidelity and financial issues. So the counselor said he was working on her self-esteem, because she felt like, oh, he's sexting these girls. He's talking to them like he never talks to me. Is this me? No, it's not you. Ladies, it's never you. It's the man. He made a decision, a selfish decision on his own to do what he want to do. And it ain't have nothing to do with you. Point blank. And child, she found out he was a bona fide liar, okay? She finds his work phone, quote unquote work phone, okay? And he didn't wipe it clean. Found out he was texting Peaches, the prostitute, okay? He was paying for services, although he had a wife at home. Okay? She said the cheating wasn't a thing for her because that was her out in the marriage. Sis, you had plenty of out, but okay. But because she was hoping and praying that he would tell her some type of truth, and he didn't, she threw him the hell out her house. And what ensued after that? She found out he had criminal history, found out he was a weekend jailer. Like he must have did something. He had a job, so he worked during the week and went to jail during the weekend. Found out that his family tree was not the family tree that he told her about. Found out he was fired from his job. Found out that when he was on the phone every morning talking to somebody on the phone, that he wasn't even talking to nobody. That's the weirdest shit for me too. Like, you ain't never say, give me the phone, let me talk to John. You never been up to his job as his wife. That whole scenario you told us about him not being able to take you to the job because he was making one of those fake phone calls, like, girl. And the uncovering goes on and on until she gets rid of him for good with her final divorce decree. Okay. And she decides to come to social media because it was cathartic for her to let it all out. Not to mention to a stranger. Let me get a bag for it, okay? Now, she made sure not to mention any names, but since she done did this tiki-taki and they found out the estimation of how much she made on this doggone 50-part series, people was coming out the woodworks, all the characters. We got the ex-wife, the stepson, the ex-husband, all coming out because she decided to tell her story. Now, I'm done with the 50 parts, okay? I ain't following no more of this. I don't care about nobody else's story at this point. 50 parts was enough for me. And the moral of the story is follow your gut, follow your intuition, and don't go on your selfish need. It'll always get you in trouble. I think she fell for the potential of the fairy tale of meeting someone online, getting married, having children, having that house with the white picket fence, 2 children and a dog. You know, she fell for the fantasy. Now you got another part of this where people feeling like, you know, Risa Teacher was desperate. They talking about her looks and how alone she was and calling her big back. And I have to disagree with all of that. Okay. Because can you explain Khloe Kardashian, who married a crackhead and then had children with a man who's a serial cheater? Is she big backed and lonely? Listen, I could appreciate Risa Teacher for taking accountability, you know, for her part in this debacle of a relationship and sharing her story, because it might just help someone before they make the same mistake she made. Now, do I believe Risa Teacher? Yes. Do I believe she left a lot out? Absolutely. For me, you know, she had no standards or boundaries set in place, except her religious beliefs, which she totally ignored because she thought it was her turn.